So I just got home from touring an apartment, and this whole
People sleeping in there. People are charging $1,000 a month.
The three cities in the USA with the most homeless.
We are living in the worst housing market in modern days. Let me show you. This home here.
To Gen Z into affordable option.
Why homeownership is hopeless for Gen Z, explained in 2 minutes.
The price for 1 pound of ground beef is
So I work in the Amero.
The United States housing market.
Imagine working full-time, doing everything right, and still not being able to afford a place to live. Across America, thousands of workers are facing a reality that once seemed impossible. Rents are rising faster than paychecks. Housing costs keep climbing. And for many families, the American dream is slipping further away. Some are living in cars. Some are staying in motels. Others are moving from place to place just trying to survive. This isn't happening on the fringes of society. It's happening to everyday Americans. Welcome to Amero Grind, where we uncover the real cost of living in America.
landlord's going to do, these property management companies, because it's not even necessarily like individual landlords, it's these property management companies, what are they going to do when nobody can afford to live in their apartment complexes? What are they going to do when nobody can afford to live in their building? Because this place is also requiring 3 times the rent in income. I have a degree and a salaried job, and I don't make that. There's no reason why any person with a college degree and a salaried job should not be able to qualify for like a basic apartment, any basic apartment. And I'm going to tell you something. I work in housing, okay? I work at a nonprofit that houses homeless families. I work with homeless families with children. And every single day, I see the consequences of this. I have a client that brings in $4,000 a month and is homeless. They bring in $4,000 a month through their job and they are homeless because of the price of these apartments, because of the income requirements. I see every day these people going to look at apartments, applying for apartments, and getting priced out by the time they can fill out the application, priced out between the time they tour the apartment and apply, priced out between the time they see the apartment and when they apply, and sometimes it's one day and they're priced out. Some of these people have evictions. I don't give a fuck what you think about evictions. You can have an eviction from 6 years ago. Good fucking luck. You're homeless. You're homeless because you got evicted once 6 years ago because you lost your job. I see people dealing with the consequences of unfair and illegal evictions. People who are homeless because they were a stay-at-home mom and their husband died. And some of these people have income. Like I said, I have a client that brings in $4,000 a month and can't afford to live anywhere. And what are these places going to do when no one can afford to live there anymore? And all of these people who would say that this is fair, the landlords should be able to make a profit off of housing, right? That's a whole different, don't even get me started on for-profit housing. But all of the people that would say this is fair, the landlords should be able to make a profit. All these people that are bringing in money and can't afford to live, that's their own problem. We should just throw them to the wolves. We shouldn't be giving them any money. On my way to that apartment tour, by the way, I drove past a cop kicking a homeless man off the corner. Like he had anywhere else to go. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell those people something. Those people who are anti-spending money on homeless people. My organization, which is one of literally a million in the United States, spends an average of $30,000 to provide emergency shelter to our clients. $30,000 per client. And that doesn't include the rehousing. That doesn't include the stabilization. That just includes paying for their emergency shelter. Just the bed. $30,000 per client. Per family. And that is all government grants. That's all government money. It's all coming from emergency shelter grants from the government. It would be so much cheaper for everyone, less of a burden on everyone, if rent was just affordable. Like, there's literally no downside to making rent something that people can afford. There's no reason I should have a homeless family in my care that's bringing in $4,000 a month. There's no reason. There's absolutely no reason. They make more than I do. They make more than I do. But because of the rules about bodies per room and they have a family with kids, they can't support themselves. And that person makes more than I do. It's insanity. It's insanity. And I am so pissed off. I'm so pissed off. Where are we all supposed to go? Because at the trajectory this is going, we're all going to get priced out. What are we supposed to do? And where are we supposed to go? I don't get it. What are we all supposed to do?
Is. Back in 1970, half of 30-year-olds were married and homeowners. That's just unthinkable for Gen Z. Kids these days aren't just magically lazier than previous generations. We work just as hard as our parents did. And like them, we were raised to strive for the American dream. That's the promise of a stable and dignified life available to everybody who's willing to work hard for it. And the textbook example was homeownership. It's the place to raise your family and build the wealth that you'll pass on to your kids. We're told to put in our 40 hours of work every single week. But work just doesn't pay like it used to. Americans haven't gotten a raise since the 1980s. Wages haven't increased faster than inflation and cost of living. So even if it seems like our paychecks are higher, we've got less left in our pockets after expenses like healthcare, housing, and insurance. What's made things worse is that home prices have skyrocketed. Back in 1985, the median home cost $249K, while the median family made $71K. But in the year 2022, the median family income only went up to $74,000, while the median home price jumped up to $468,000. Now, how this happened is a bit complicated, and there's a lot of causes. There's NIMBYs, or people who own their homes already and want the value to go up, so they restrict the construction of new housing so that their home price is inflated. Zoning regulations make it literally illegal in large parts of the country to build anything new except for strip malls, parking lots, single-family homes, and luxury apartments. Wall Street firms have been outbidding families for homes and turning those into rentals. Also, interest rates on mortgages are at a 20-year high, making buying a home super, super expensive. Economics and politics can be confusing and exhausting, but they'll dominate your life whether you're paying attention or not. I'm breaking down the big topics to make them more accessible and to expose all of the ways that corporate America is farming you. Follow along to stay informed.
Why are there people sleeping in the airport at Boston Logan? Look. Those are beds and people sleeping in the airport at Boston Logan. What is going on?
Texas was pitched to Gen Z as the affordable option for years, but this isn't really true anymore. Financially, Texas used to make sense. No income tax, more space, good jobs, lower cost of living compared to states like New York or California. But here's what nobody told you. The average rent prices in major Texas cities such as Austin, Dallas, and Houston have rose over 30% since 2020. One-bedroom apartment in Austin can push almost $1,500 a month. Meanwhile, entry-level salaries haven't moved nearly at the same rate. So you end up working full-time and living paycheck to paycheck in a state that was proposed as cheap. It's not just rent. Gas, groceries, monthly utility bills, it all starts to add up, especially when you're a young person trying to build wealth for yourself. Wouldn't say Texas is unlivable for Gen Z yet, but the affordability of the state is definitely something worth considering.
This is $1 million house, and look how they braced up the roof. I mean, anybody could tell you that this isn't doing anything. Half of these braces fell over, and this is in South Dakota, so it gets a lot of snow load. So it was definitely a concern, but it just makes you question, if they're willing to frame the roof like this, how did they frame the rest of the house? And unfortunately, this is not uncommon. We see this kind of quality of work all the time. It's actually kind of sad in a way. The people are buying the biggest investment of their life, and they trust these people to build them a house, and these people obviously don't know how. They just scab this shit together and they call it good. America's housing shortage will result in the absolute worst built houses in the world. So the quality of work is not going to get any better. If anything, it's going to get a lot worse. If they're going to throw these houses up faster, you can imagine the work is going to go way down. So you got to be very, very careful who you hire and what house you buy, because this was on $1 million house.
With the most homeless. Number 3, San Francisco. Known for its staggering wealth disparity, San Francisco hosts around 38,000 homeless individuals. The city's booming tech industry has led to an influx of high-paying jobs, driving up housing costs and pushing marginalized communities out of affordable living spaces. Number 2, Los Angeles. With an estimated homeless population of over 86,400, Los Angeles grapples with a severe housing crisis exacerbated by soaring rent prices and a lack of affordable housing. The city's temperate climate attracts many people experiencing homelessness, leading to overcrowded shelters. Before revealing the number 1, remember to subscribe and like the video. Number 1, New York City. Boasting a homeless population of 90,000 individuals, New York City battles challenges due to its high cost of living and limited housing options. The city's dense population and competitive rental market contribute to the struggles faced by many low-income residents, forcing some onto the streets or into temporary shelters. Do you think this list is wrong, or do you agree? Let me know in the comments.
People are charging $1,000 a month to rent rooms in their home. $1,000 a month to rent a room. Bro, what the fuck we gonna do? The cost of living has gotten out of hand, and y'all buy a house, man. Everybody that I know that owns a house tells me don't buy no fucking house. They hate that shit. Between property taxes going the fuck up, insurance going the fuck up, niggas having to fix roofs. Is that what it is? Having to fix their roof and shit. Everybody I know that got a goddamn house tell me don't buy no goddamn house. They say at least you call a maintenance man. But dead ass, what the fuck we gonna do about the rising cost of living? Because what you mean you charging people $1,000? You got 3 rooms in your house, you're charging them $1,000 for somebody to come live there. This shit is sad. Like, my son gonna be an adult in the next couple of years. He's gonna graduate from high school and be an adult. And this is the world he has to live in? The fuck? I guess I need... Shit is weird.
The price for 1 pound of ground beef is now more than the federal minimum wage, guys. How crazy is this? And like, how far are they going to let these grocery prices get before they realize that regular people can just not afford this crap? Like, right now, let's do a comparison. Let's use like a couple big chains at where I live. I'm on the West Coast. So we've got like Albertsons, we've got Vons, we've got Stater Brothers, which I think is kind of like a West Coast thing. All of those are about twice the price of an Aldi, a Walmart, a Winco, a Safeco, or a Heb, or like a Food for Less if you have that. So I will tell you that of all the places that I'm shopping right now, Aldi happens to be my favorite. And no, they don't have everything. And Aldi is like the great value brand at Walmart. And that's all they have in the whole store is the Aldi brand. So there's not as much selection, but I like a lot of the stuff that they have there. So I did a price comparison out here. Stater Brothers, which is down the street from me, has amazing butcher department. The meat department is great. So I went and bought my weekly groceries there, $240. Next week, compared it, same level of groceries, $117 at Aldi. So it's completely insane. I think these big chains like Albertsons, Vons, Staters are going to have major financial problems in the future because you can't keep charging people double for what they can literally get across the street and have people keep paying it. Yes, in wealthy neighborhoods, people are going to pay that. Yeah, you're still going to have them do fine in those areas, but for the majority of Americans...
You cannot live here.
And why so?
Seattle is not affordable. We are homeless. I used to work as a meat cutter. I made good money, but I still couldn't afford a place to live. You don't get housing. You have Catholic Community Services. They do nothing. You have SHARE. They do nothing. You have all these housing people, and they do nothing. They leave you out there. Right now, I sleep in a tent. I'm 62 years old, and I'm too old for this.
How much does somebody need to be making a month to live well here?
I would probably say you probably need to be making about $200,000 a year to live well in Seattle with a family.
And how much does somebody need to make on a monthly basis just to get by and be able to pay for their rent, car insurance, everything like that?
I think you'd have to make at least $100,000 to live an actual full life and live on your own and be able to pay all your bills.
What do you do for work?
I'm head of HR.
Shift in the operating room, and I cannot afford my rent. I can't afford my rent. I can't afford gas. I can't afford groceries. I can't afford any of my endless other bills that I am responsible for because I am an adult. After working a 12-hour shift in the operating room. So you know what I have to do? I have to DoorDash, and it's 12:30 at night. After I've been on my feet in the operating room for 12 hours all day. I'm now out DoorDash driving.
There are some concerning realities about life in America right now. Number one, the younger generations, they are feeling more hopeless about homeownership and retirement. Corporate greed and rising costs have people feeling trapped financially. And for the first time in a long time, parents generally worry that their children are going to struggle more than they did. For many years, people believed that in this country, if you did all the right things, that you could make a life for yourself and a future for yourself. And that hope, that dream is disappearing for so many people right now because they're seeing that even though they're doing everything they need to do, that's becoming more and more out of reach.
In case you were curious what the housing market is like right now, my husband and I found a house that we absolutely loved, kind of a dream for us, on Thursday. We went and looked at it on Thursday. Put in an offer 10 grand over asking on Thursday. They had multiple offers already on Thursday. They decided, because they knew a bunch of people were going to be interested, to wait until Sunday, today, to do best and final offer, which means we had to put in our absolute best and final offer. We went up to 30 grand over asking, and we offered a $20,000 appraisal gap, which is if the house gets appraised for less than what you offered, you have to cover that gap with cash at the closing table. So we offered that. We also, in our offer, said that we're going to do inspections, but we're not going to ask them for any concessions or repairs. So if anything came back bad, they didn't have to fix it. Also, 3-week close. We didn't even stand a chance. We lost. They had 9 offers. 9 offers. Somebody offered, I think, 40 or 50 grand over asking with a full appraisal gap, which means 40 or 50 grand. Like, I just actually want to die because now I'm depressed, and it was my dream house. And now someone else gets to have my dream house because I'm too poor. I love my life.
What's the cost of a 1-bedroom where you live? Because if you're like the residents of Atlanta, Georgia, it's becoming increasingly unaffordable. I made a previous video about this where the average rent in Atlanta is $963. I should have clarified that's per person. And so when you take 2 people needing to have roommates now, the age group of 45 to 64 is increasing at a rapid rate over the last 20 years. They're basically bringing to the table about $810 on average. That buys them a 1-bedroom apartment for $1,600 for 2 people. So if you're like the people of Atlanta, it is becoming absolutely unaffordable, unobtainable to even rent, let alone dreaming about buying a house.
I need to know the secret. Where y'all getting y'all money from? Because there's no way that everybody's out here struggling, yet everybody has money. Okay, I'm seeing stuff, people out here flaunting what they got, summertime goals, going on vacations, all that. Where y'all getting this bread from? And don't tell me it's a credit card, because I don't believe that.
Somebody give me the real source of where y'all getting this money from.
15-ish years ago, I was able to afford.
The United States housing market is about to collapse 80 to 90%, which means homes that were once worth $1.5 million are going to be worth just $300,000. Now, the reason why is simple. The U.S. housing market has reached its most unaffordable level in history. People cannot afford to buy homes. And if people can't afford to buy homes, the market must crash. But how hard is this market going to crash? When we look at the data, this crash could potentially be way worse than the 2008 housing market crash that we saw. We are going to see prices come down 80 to 95%.
40,355 homes were foreclosed on in the United States in May 2026. That is a 14% increase in home foreclosures in May 2026, higher than May 2025. There has been about 210,000 home foreclosures this year in January through May so far. People are having a problem paying their mortgage. They're having a problem paying their student loans, their auto loans, their credit cards. People are struggling. Inflation has gone from 2.9% to 4.2% and rising. Gas is at a 3-year high. Oil increased as much as 80%. Today is day 113 of the U.S.-Iran war. No, it is not open. And we are paying $1 billion per day to $2 billion per day. That is money we will never get back. It's not going into the U.S. economy. It's not going into infrastructure, education, any kind of social programs. It's gone. We're never getting it back. Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to get much worse. I just did a post about unemployment. Check that out and see what state you are in and if you are above the average unemployment rate of 4.3%. If you found this post informative, please like, comment, follow, and share for more economic news.
There's going to be a massive housing collapse. I just watched Good Morning America, and they had a segment on how nationwide there's been so many homes that are going to foreclosure. And I've been seeing a lot of creators on this app, particularly in Texas and like the southern states, just saying that there's like so many homes going into foreclosure. We are being gaslighted by this administration regarding not only the housing market, but also the economy, because everyone's saying, oh, everything's great, jobs are booming. It is not. So many people are jobless right now. And it's not because they're lazy. I've been hearing people saying they're applying to Walmart and they're not even getting that job. And before anyone thinks I'm like fear-mongering, I promise you, as a millennial, we are a generation that is taught to not only read, watch the news, but also like back your shit up. And look at this. ABC News is reporting that foreclosure homes are on the rise. Now, why is this happening? They said that foreclosure filing increased 71% between 2020 and 2025. They're saying it's because of higher mortgage rates, property taxes that continue to increase, higher costs of home insurance, and then also the end of pandemic era protection. They said that Florida had the highest rates of foreclosure, along with New Jersey, Delaware, Nevada, South Carolina, Illinois, California, Maryland, Ohio, and Arizona. I'm telling you guys, be prepared. And this could be a good thing for millennials. And maybe it'll drive the housing market to lower so we can actually afford a fucking home. But I'm telling you guys, be prepared, because we're headed for like a big economics collapse. And before anyone thinks like, oh no, it'll never happen. Well, they interviewed this girl. Her name is Emily Arner. And she was a mother of 3 working as a flight attendant. She said she bought a house in Arizona. And she was so excited because it had a big backyard. The house was beautiful. And then her and her husband purchased it. Then what happened? Well, in 2025, her husband lost his job and then she could not afford the mortgage. They tried everything, and eventually they foreclosed on their home. Things like this can happen to anyone. And right now, the job market is so unstable. People are losing their jobs left to right. Then they can't find a job. Our jobs are going to AI. So I'm telling you right now, just be prepared. You have been warned.
Something is breaking in America, folks, and it's not subtle anymore. Groceries are up 25% since 2020. Housing up 45%. Rent declared unaffordable in 98% of U.S. counties. People aren't downsizing. They're being priced out of existence. Right now, over 1.9 million Americans live in vehicles. That number has tripled since 2018, and it's climbing fast. Not because people want adventure, but because the system stopped working for them. Everyone feels it. The pressure, the squeeze, the quiet collapse in slow motion. But here's the part they don't want to talk about. Nomad life is no longer an alternative lifestyle. It's becoming a survival strategy and a movement. Every single day, thousands more join the road. Not homeless, systemless, not lost, unplugged. If you feel like society is cracking, you're not alone. This is the transition era, and you are watching a new America being built on wheels.
The U.S. housing market has gotten so bad that it's now forcing this unbelievably high number of young people to move back in with their parents. The American dream of owning a home is now essentially unachievable, especially for the younger generations, as the U.S. housing market continues to defy all logic, because despite the fact that there are currently 50% more sellers than buyers in the market, which under normal conditions should cause home prices to drop, instead, the exact opposite is happening, as the older boomer generations who own most of the homes in this nation refuse to lower their asking price despite the clear lack of demand at this level. And to make matters even worse, mortgage interest rates are spiking up to their 30-year highs of 7%, making buying even more expensive. All of this has effectively priced the Gen Z and millennial generations out of the market, with even college-educated professionals earning low six figures unable to buy, leading to the mind-boggling stat that over the past 5 years, roughly 60% of Americans 18 to 35 have at one point moved back in with their parents.
This is the last month. Right now we're digging into our emergency savings.
Yeah.
So unless we feel comfortable digging into our emergency savings of 6 months.
If we can't make the 3,000, we might have to move with my mom and dad.
Or find a cheap place to rent.
So I just found out that 30% of Americans are not paying their bills. Yeah, you heard that right. 30% of Americans are not paying their bills. Now, if we look at the entire U.S. population, we'll round it up to 350 million. Let's say 350 million. Now, anywhere between 50 and 100 million of those people are not paying bills. They're not old enough to have expenses or be responsible for those expenses. So let's just wipe out, let's say 50 million to make it easy. So 350 down to 300 million. That means if 30% of Americans are not paying their bills, that is a little under 100 million people have just said, nah, I'm good. I'm okay. Not paying my rent.
Don't pay back your credit card. Who cares, man? Who gonna stop you? If the government can be in debt, so can I. So can you. Open up 10 credit cards, 50 credit cards, run them up. Keep it going, no one's gonna stop us.
Please, y'all, join me because I'm unemployed. I'm not paying my bills. It's possible. Like, come on, join me. Please join me because otherwise I'm gonna have to pay this. Seriously though, we need to do something. There's so many people who can make a change, and I see them constantly saying, oh, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. Babe, oh my gosh, there's so much you can do. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. There's so many things you can do. Starting mutual aid. Let's just all start meeting up in the street and screaming together.
I stayed out of trouble. I went to school. I didn't party. I focused on what I wanted. You know what? I graduated, updated my resume, started applying to, and did hundreds of applications. You know how many callbacks I got? A handful. You know how many of those turned into actual jobs? Zero. I'm talking entry-level positions. I'm talking about jobs I was overqualified for and it didn't matter. Meanwhile, my bills don't care that the job market is broken. My rent doesn't care. My car payment doesn't care.
For decades, we've been told to pay your bills on time and maintain a good credit score, and many people have been doing that because we want to maintain a perfect profile. But more and more, I'm seeing a growing trend of people saying, no, I'm not going to do that anymore, and I don't even care about my credit score because of the cost of living.
This is your sign to stop paying your credit cards, okay? Now, this is not medical advice by any means, but it's important for you to know that my credit cards have not been paid in many, many, many months, and whose credit score is going up? Yeah, this girl. This girl! So it's all a scam. It's all numbers. Money is not real. It is just numbers on a freaking screen at this point. And same with the credit score. Numbers on a screen that go up and down like a teeter-totter.
Something that's never sat right with me is how somebody can work full-time, work 2 jobs, and still not be able to pay their bills. Hey! So I work in the operating room, and I just worked a 12-hour shift in the operating room, and I cannot afford my rent. I can't afford my rent. I can't afford gas. I can't afford groceries. I can't afford any of my endless other bills that I am responsible for because I am an adult. After working a 12-hour shift in the operating room. So you know what I have to do? I have to DoorDash, and it's 12:30 at night after I've been on my feet in the operating room for 12 hours all day. I'm now out DoorDash driving.
I think I've decided that at least this month I can't make a payment towards my visa. I know they won't understand. I have to extend when I'm moving anyway, which really sucks. But it doesn't seem like I need to. Ideally, I wouldn't pay for the next 2 or 3 months. I don't want to do that. But I really want to pay off my credit card. And it's not ideal because next July I have to pay $3,000 again for a different credit card. So I don't know what to do. Unless I transfer that to another card, which I just can't do.
Don't pay your credit card off. What if we all collectively decided we are going to max out our credit cards and not pay it off? Like if we got a group of, say, 100,000 people to max out their credit cards and then not pay it off, what are they going to do? And say we got more people to do that. All those credit card companies, they're going to go completely bankrupt. What's going to happen to the American dollar? It's not even real. The American dollar does not exist. There's not a certain amount of money that we have that's connected to the gold, to how much gold we have. That is completely screwed up. That does not exist anymore. We literally are just making more and more debt. Did you know the money that you have in the bank? They don't actually have that money sitting there. It's just a number. They don't actually have everyone's money sitting in the bank. It's literally just a number. Money is just a number. Money is not real. Something is going to need to happen because the system is collapsing. Everyone's bills are going way too high, rent's way too high, and people can't find jobs. Their jobs aren't paying enough. We need to do something. We need to come together and make a change.
I'm not paying no more bills. I don't give a cut all this shit off. I go move in with my sister. I'm sick of it. You know what I'm saying? Every month. Mortgage. You want water? You want electricity? Man? And then you're sitting here, I'm trying to recycle, make the world a better place, so maybe some of these prices can go down. Hell no, y'all stop the recycling.
My paycheck was short $300. I can't pay my rent on time. My car insurance is past due. It's over $300. My energy bill is past due, and I've been paying little bits, and that's over $900. One of my senior technicians quit,
And I tell you guys all the time that when you have struggles like this and you feel like you just have you don't know what to do. I have a wedding to save for.
I'm done paying my credit card bills. I didn't pay them off. I'm done paying them. I don't want to pay them anymore, so. Feels pretty good. I could, pretty freeing. I'm getting a lot of phone calls from 800 numbers, but, it's probably not that big of a deal.
When are we gonna stop paying rent and other bills? I'm ready for that. Who ready for that? Cause I think it's about time. If we all did it at the same time, what are they really gonna do? You can't evict all of us.
Can't pay your bills either, huh? How about grocery shopping? How you doing with that? Insurance go up at all this year? You know, the people in Washington think you're doing fine. Corporations know you're not, so they're telling you to eat cereal for dinner. Guys, why are we doing this? What's the point? There's like 8 billion of us. And we're letting a small handful of people do this to us. Why? You know, if we all got together and just stopped participating in their system, there's nothing they can do. You know that, right? Like if 8 billion people told the elites to f off, there's absolutely nothing they can do about it. They can try, but when it's all said and done, there's not a damn thing they can do about it if 8 billion people just told them to f off. We can create our own system. It'll be hard, but we can do it. It'll be real hard, but so is living like this. So we just need to choose our hard. You know, those suits up in Washington that do this to us, they are completely useless without their local enforcers. If there's nobody that enforces their laws are completely irrelevant. They can't take everybody's houses. They can't throw 8 billion people in jail. So when are we going to say that enough is enough?
I gotta stop paying bills because I can't do it anymore. I'm done with the Matrix. I'm done with the simulation. My phone bill's due. I'm not paying it. I can't pay it. I mean, I'm going to school. I'm not breaking my neck to try to do work in school ever again. I'm not doing it.